Hey, Tony. Great. A free Friday. Um, what does that mean exactly? No honeydews, or does that mean that you have a clear plate today? Uh, okay. Got my really dirty glasses on this morning. Hi, Dan. Wow, got a lot of guys in here this morning. Good. You're the first ones, but I'm sure there'll be more. Got a lot of different things to show you guys today. And can you hear me okay? Hey, Dan. Oh, we got Dan's turning and Woodshed Dan. So we got both going. Okay, that's good. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear my mic? Yep, here. Okay, just always want to make sure that it's working. So, good morning to all of you. Please hit the like button, of course, and we'll get started here in just a second. I got a lot of things to cover today. Hopefully, we'll have time to go through it all, and you guys can stick through it. I want to kind of spread it out a little bit so everybody gets a chance to see some of this. So, I'm not going to do too much early, but this is a piece of oak. A little better light on. And as you can see, if you look really closely here, this has really nice looking grain in it. Okay? I don't know if that's coming through too much on the picture or not, but it's got a really nice grain. And what I want to do is kind of highlight that. And then I've got a small piece, because I said this is the large and small. Then I got a small piece of oak burl, and you'll be able to see the differences in oak. How oak can look a lot of different ways, even though it's the same type of tree. So I'm going to do that today. Hey, Larry. And yeah, guys should check out Tony's videos. They're pretty nice. I hear some of you be doing some of your own lives. Is that true? I think Tony wants to do one on. Is that Monday, Tony? You're going to do one? So anyway. Yeah, shop tour and a Q&A. Great. Perfect. Monday at noon Pacific. There you go. Us Pacific people have to kind of hang together, so you know. Okay, so so this will be another piece that we get into later. Not sure what we're going to find inside because it's a burl, so you never know. And I got a few other pieces too. I'll be pulling out that pistachio that I mentioned the other day too, and let you guys take a look at that. And so we'll get to that in a little bit too. Got a good response to the mallet challenge that I put out there. I've seen a few guys saying that they're willing to take that on. If you haven't watched the videos yet, take a peek at that. I think most of you guys have. So what I did is I kind of pre-turned this a little bit because it had it was badly cut. It was badly cut at an angle about this big, so I had to take off a wedge of about this much onto this piece of wood in order to get it workable. So I kind of did that, and I got it a little bit rounded. And I'm playing with some new angles on my gouges today. So on my gouges, you're going to see, I'm going to be experimenting with new angles on my gouges that I haven't used before. So that could be interesting. We'll find out just how interesting that gets. So let me go ahead and get this started so we don't have to waste too much more time. And for a change, I'm going to use a roughing gouge. I don't often do that. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So give me a chance here to get this turning at a reasonable speed. And see if we get that a little bit roughed out there. Just a little bit off. And this is very hard oak, as you can tell. It's not coming off in rhythm. Still getting the slightest bit of bounce, but not much. I think I got that pretty well rounded at this point. Okay. Rough spots. Okay. So now I can work on the back side here and get ready to put the tenon in and all that. So had an interesting experience from last week's turning. Right in the middle of the turning, a bolt and a washer came flying off, and I didn't know what it belonged to. So after the live video, I was looking around, and realized it came off the handle to the to my butt banjo. So fortunately, I had kept it, and I gave it to fix it. Put it back on. Yeah. Okay, so I got to, wow, that is really swirly in here. I'm going to tighten this down just a little bit with my skew, and then I'm going to put the tenon on, then kind of get the interesting. Okay. I'm also getting a feel for just how hard this wood is, and it is pretty hard. You can hear that rubbing. Okay. We got a little foot here. I want to make sure that looks good. Ooh, that's that curl there. Okay, I think we got a pretty smooth. Got a little bit right here I got to take out, but I can clean that up. Okay. So next is the tenon. And I got a couple different ways of going with this. I think this one we might work with exterior tenon instead of an interior tenon, just to do something a little bit different. But I don't think I'm even have to cut this off afterwards. It's going to look really nice. So I think maybe I'll take that down just a little bit. Let's see, if I did this here. Yeah, let me see. I think I'll try that. I can always go back and change it if I don't like it, so that's what I'm going to do. We'll dovetail it in just a little bit. Okay. So make sure that's nice and flat. Okay. See what you guys are up to over here. Yeah. Well, hey, Mike. How you doing in there? Got a lot of people in here today that don't usually see, so that's great. Kind of a small crowd, but it's a good crowd, good group of people. So let's see. How close am I getting here? Just a little bit. Okay. There we go. I can put that on there, tighten it down. That should be a nice, good tenon. Should hold on. And it looks pretty sharp. Okay, we got that. I want to take out this little break right there in the wood. We'll just clean that out right here. That got it. When in doubt, use the right tool. Yeah, look at that. Just little, tiny little things. I love a sharp tool. As I said the other day, I lost my cheat sheet for my sharpening tool guide, and so I thought this was a good opportunity to go back and go through my tools and check to see what angle I actually had on them after all this time of not really adjusting. And it was amazing to me. Some of them were off by 5 or 6 degrees or more. So it was actually a really good lesson there to make sure you go back. And what I did is I actually went back and reevaluated how I wanted some of them to work, and so I changed some of the angles of my gouges and so forth. This is actually somewhere between 40 and 45 degrees now. It's much more aggressive than it was before, because I used to have a 55 degree angle on that. So at 45 it gives me a little bit more control, especially as I'm going down into the bowl. And for my birthday I got a new Hurricane too that my wife bought me. So I'm kind of reworking that just a little bit. You can see here it's not quite perfect yet, but it's a much more blended end. It's not a wing. Well, it's much more getting down into the bottom of bowls, and so I think I'll really enjoy using that one as we get into this one today. So we'll give them both a try. Okay, well, I'm going to sand this down a little bit, and then we'll get on with turning the inside of the bowl. And I think we're going to like this one when it's all finished. I think we're all going to like it, actually. Turn on my dust collector here. Tell you, this is already very finely sanded, even though it's I haven't gone through all the sanding pieces. So I'm going to go up just a little bit here. Let it be in reverse again. Such a hard one, and really makes a nice polish to it. that end grain. Okay. I'm going to go up a little higher than I normally do. Great, because I think this will take the polish. Really look nice. This is kind of a polishing mode. Yeah, that actually shines now. It shines so much it actually looks like it has a finish on it. So this should be interesting to turn on the inside. I hope that it is cooperative, because it is definitely going to be hard wood. Okay, let me wipe that off just a little bit. I'm going to use just a little bit of alcohol to kind of get some of that off of there, the rubbing alcohol, or denatured alcohol, before I go to putting anything on here, because this is this will take the finish, but it needs to be really clean. I don't want anything getting clogged up in there. I hope it's not as hot as it is in your area as it is in ours. We're supposed to be like around 103 to 105 today, and we're working towards 108 this weekend. So hopefully you guys are going to be in a little bit better shape than we are. Yes, I'm just getting a little that dust off of here that I'll let that dry for just a minute, then I'll put a finish on this. Okay. So what do we got here? See, when you guys are done turning, what do you apply in your projects? Well, yeah, what do you guys apply? I know what I apply. I'm going to apply one right now, as a matter of fact. Yeah, some people use a grit for the shine. You know, there's a lot of different things you can use. So let's discuss that for just a second. Okay, I've got some. I've got a lot of different things. I got some true grit right here, but this doesn't really need that. I don't think. I think if I was to apply this, it would just be kind of wasting it, because it's not needed on this surface. The surface doesn't need that fine gritting that the others do. I could use tried and true as a wood finish, but I think, at least for right now, I'm not going to use tung oil or anything else. I'm just going to put a little bit of beeswax on this. Just some of Howard's. I'm going to take this helmet off for a minute. I'm just going to put a little bit of Howard's on here, because I don't think it's going to suck it in much, quite honestly, and this is mostly going to be a surface coating. So, I mean, you could shellac it right now or something, but I think this is a good way to go. And it will bring out the really nice colors of that oak as we do it. Let's see here, you'll see it in just a second when I get this on here. kind of get an idea of what this bowl is going to look like when we're all done. Yeah, there's no reason to be using the tongue oil on this one because I just don't think it would be absorbed in much. It doesn't. The wood does not need to be hardened at all, but it's plenty hard on its own. Now on the burl that we do later, it may very well need that. Let me just make sure that I have a stronger wood that I'm working with, but this, not necessarily so. Okay, so now you can see a little bit of that grain I was talking about. Almost has a spotted look to it and a wave at the same time. It's really kind of cool looking. Get a little bit more of the end grain here. Rub that in a little bit. And this is all I'm going to need to do on this finish for right now. I mean, now you're going to need to use a second coat or anything else on it. And it smells great because it has that orange in there too. So it's kind of like a dual purpose nice thing to have on here. So let that kind of harden for just a minute while we're talking. Lower the speed a little. Don't need it to go that fast. Okay. It depends on how high grit. Now I went up to 400 grit sanding on this. I didn't need to go any harder fire because it's really hard wood and it really has a nice feel to it already. So I didn't need to work on that. Okay. But we kind of burnish this out a little bit here. I can see my reflection in it. That's good enough for me. Not that I want to see myself, but but you get my idea. So there you go. I'll take this off the lathe here. And let you kind of see that. So you can see that wood, the color on that thing. It's really nice. So now we're going to turn it around and ruin it by making it into a wood. Right now it is really heavy. It is really, really heavy piece of wood. So we're going to be trying to remove some of the weight from this thing. I had to use my impact drive because otherwise I couldn't get. I had to drill first. Then I had to use an impact driver to drive the screws into that. That's how hard the wood is. So that gives you some indication of what we're doing here. That's, if you watch my channel at all, you know that's not the normal thing we do. Interesting, we only have like 14 people in here. I thought we'd have a little bit better viewing than that today, but you take what you can get. Sometimes you get 500 and sometimes you get 5. And I guess this is one of those days where I'm not going to get many viewers, so yeah, it's just what it is. They're missing out. They're the ones that are missing out because I think they're going to see a really nice bowl when we're done here. Okay, I think we're in place. Bring that to speed. It's running good. About that speed there, okay. All right. I had a little problem on this side, just as I did on the other side of it being cut at a odd angle. And I was trying to mount this and get this all squared up. So we will see how it's going. And by the way, we are going to talk about these things later. So, you know, be around for that. Okay, we're going to talk about those for a minute. Mike, we got to educate these guys a little bit and get them involved in this one. So, in fact, I heard from Mike, he might do another one. Got so inspired by the last ones, you might be seeing another mallet coming out of Mike. We'll see. Okay, let me get my helmet on here. Okay. Okay, safety helmet in place. Okay, we are relatively flat across here. Okay. Now I can move my tool rest in. Now it's going to straighten out this outer edge. Really establish that edge. There we go. Almost looks like walnut, doesn't it? Has a little bit of resemblance to walnut. I'm going to try and pick up the speed just a little bit. I don't know why I'm getting a little bit of a wobble on it. Wow, that is fun. Whew. Creates so much friction. Wow, that's creating so much friction that I'm almost feels like it's going to catch on fire in a minute. See, it keeps ticking back. It's almost like turning hard maple. Well, the good and bad is it's going to turn and curl a lot, which is good. It's going to fight me the whole way. Boy, it just really wants to fight me. So you know what I'm going to do? Let's see what a carbide does with this. Just out of curiosity. If you're using a carbide or a scraper, you don't get that same kind of resistance. And you still get the nice shavings. It's not as deep, it doesn't go as deep. But in this particular case, it might be the better tool for the wood. Well, you never know. Well, we'll come back to my other tool, gouge this down a little bit more. You know, and just for fun, because I want to try out this new tool that I got my wife got me. You always want to do that. I want to see just how does this fit down in there. Whoa, whoa. Well, I think I'll call this a bullhog. Look at that. Well, I'd call that a bullhog, wouldn't you? That tool does a nice job. This is a Hurricane model with a much smaller angle to it. It's a 45-degree angle, but it's got a much smaller nose to it. Whereas my other guys is meant for doing a lot of shaping and so forth on the outside of the roll, this one is more intended for the inside. There's no wings or anything like that on it. It's just pure, get in there and dig it out. Wow, that is just really eating up the, look at that. Just gonna fill up my grass can here in a matter of minutes. It is really eating through that. Again, different grinds have different possibilities. Again, we go back to the carbide. And it's really good for smoothing all that out. I don't find it quite as good out here. But going in here, it's just fine. It's just not as aggressive as the gouge would be. Because again, it's basically a scraper. So it's all about what you're comfortable with. And what you have available. Okay? Since I have a lot of different toys available, I can play with all my toys. for a second here and just kind of take a look and see where we're at. This is a nice solid piece. No branches coming into it or anything. So, a little better line up there. So, we're about halfway, a little over halfway through, maybe halfway through. And I'm not really encountering too many issues at this point. Other than the fact I got to make sure that we get into this corner a little bit better. Go. Make a little room for this one. Hitting something there. What I'm running right into something there. Oh, I see what I'm running into a little bit of a rough right there. That's okay. Let me catch up to you guys here a little bit. Yeah, some of the best comes from firewood. You're absolutely right. You notice that most of what I turn is not stuff that came from a factory or anything like that. It's stuff that I find or I get gifted or whatever, or just cut down the trees. So yeah, this is oak. This is oak, Paul. Pistachio is coming. In fact, I'll show you here now, since you're asking. There's a piece of pistachio. Okay. And it's a beautiful piece of wood. Okay. And I cut two smaller pieces out of this. You can see the side grain in this. So the question is going to be, how do I best turn these blanks to keep most of that side grain and not lose it all to turning? And you know, because this is kind of like the outside sapwood. This is the inner wood, kind of like a poplar. Looks a little bit like poplar. Kind of got a greenish tone to it. Has a lot of the same features, but it's a very hard wood, very compressed wood. So we're going to have to see how best to turn that. And that will be something we'll be working on. So think about that a little bit. We'll come back to that later. Discuss it a little more. Okay, but yes, this is oak. I'm going to get some of this out of the way here. A lot of curls. And I think I need to start moving my tailstock and my banjo in a little bit. And give myself a little bit of space, a little bit closer in there. See what I can do. Okay? So I'm going to clean this up just a little bit. It does look like poplar, you're right, but it is pistachio. They grow a lot of pistachio around here. Whoa, okay. Check my, got a lid, tiny bit loose on my cannon. Not bad, nothing came off. But I should have listened to my own advice, right, Mike? I'm always telling you, check your cannon, make sure your attached's good, and I didn't even listen to my own advice. I got caught up in the turning. So shows that we all do it. We all make those mistakes, and those mistakes can cost us. Okay. Back down in there. getting these pieces here are really rough compared to the rest. A little softer, I think, a little punkier. So it's kind of creating a bouncing effect. When we go the other direction, it kind of cleans that out a little bit. Smooth that up just a little. So we are about this far from the bottom, so probably another half an inch or less to go. Okay, so let's take a look now. I'm going to start forming the bottom and making sure everything looks good as we go. We're probably about the right thickness on the sides. What do you think, guys? Do you think I ought to go thinner on sides? Or do you think I ought to keep it right about where it's at? Sorry, Tony, you have to go. Your break time's over. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Please, everybody, make sure you're hitting the like button on your way out the door if you haven't already. And I know most of you are subscribers, but if you haven't subscribed, please do. And invite some of your friends in here. We do have a good time on Fridays, and would like to really push. I'm 65 short of that 5,000 mark on subscribers. Only 65 is all I need. And lately, I've been getting maybe 3 or 4 per week on my lives. So we're like scraping to get to that 5,000 mark. Should be able to get to it pretty quick. I know Mike the other day had like 50 or 60 subscribers on his one feed on Sunday. We'd really like to do that again. It's real crazy. One week I'll have 20 to 30,000 views, and the next week I'll have 5,000 views. Fridays are kind of quirky. Feel the bottom here. Yeah, we can go another couple times around on this. it does go down at an angle here. On the back side. I want to get a feeler read down there because I'm not getting a good sense with my fingers. And we are roughly about this far from the bottom. So I can go I can go maybe one more turn through there and then start cleaning it out, and it should be the same as on the sides. This gouge to be kind of like a scraper. Yeah, that's feeling much better. Okay, I'm going to use a scraper now to scrape out the bottom here and get it all cleaned up, and we'll be ready to sand it and finish it. Well, that scraper really took some off, huh? Nothing like a nice sharp scraper. Get a really smooth finish on that bottom. Okay. I think, other than a little sanding, I think we're in pretty good shape here. Okay? So, let me tools back for now. Get some of this cleaned out of here. Oh man. A lot of. I just filled up this 10-gallon can, trash can, from top to bottom with this, and I don't even pick up the stuff off the floor. This is just the stuff that's curled up on the top here. Of course, this will all be going out in my garden and my flower beds and stuff, so you know, it doesn't get wasted. It doesn't go out to the trash or anything. It all gets used. But boy, what a lot. Okay, so let me get this sand it down a little bit. It shouldn't take long. Getting that edge good, okay. Turn this on. Sorry I'm not paying attention to the guys that are talking at the moment, but I will be caught up on the comments in just a minute. Go into the other ones. Go up the tubes. See, I start to get a little bit of a ring here. It starts to show up because of the really, really hard woods and soft woods. And what you can do for that is you can use a palm sander and palm sand this out a little bit better so you don't get that ring and you'll take that off. And then now, just try to Okay. What do we got saying here? It's CO2 lasers. Wow, you guys have gone into a lot of different topics here, aren't you? And an AI assist. Yeah, see, guys, I'm more into the assist myself kind of thing, not the AI assist. I'm more a little more old school than that. And see, I'm getting this little hedging right here too from this, from what's going on the outside, and I'm getting that. So I'm going to do a little hand sanding here to try and take some of that out of there. Okay. At least reduce it a little bit. I have to turn this back on. I may have to get my palm sander out and do a little palm sanding on here. Get some of that out of there. And I may fix that little gash right there with a little bit of sawdust too. Just to clean it up a bit, but I think I'll do that. I'll do that separate. For now, I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. Let you have a gander of what the finished bowl kind of looks like. And I can do that on my cleanup time, or maybe with my members group or something. We can do this together this week. I've been releasing a little more stuff on the member site first lately, and I hope you guys appreciate getting those. So you're going to get a first look at some stuff. And if you're not getting your notifications, it's because something's going on. Sometimes YouTube unsubscribes you, so check down there, see, make sure it says subscribe. But we don't seem to have a lot of people in here today for some reason. It's, I figured with Friday and it being so hot, everybody would be inside, but apparently they ain't. They're out doing things even in this heat. So that's just what happens sometimes. You just don't get too many people watching. But I do appreciate all of you that are in here, because that's the thing. I would still be turning, but it's not quite as much fun when you're just talking to yourself. Well, I'm kind of talking to myself anyway, but you know, you get the idea. And that's just a preliminary coat, of course, with the Howard's Feed and Wax. And turn very slowly. 1 minute, and then I will take it off. So, it showcases the grain really well. You're right. That's true. Hey, big dog. Haven't seen you around in a while. How's it going? I hope you're doing well. Still here and just working. Okay. No, that's fine. Thank you, Dan. Okay, let me see here now. Let's wipe this down a little bit. I'm not putting a heavy polishing on this right now. I'm going to have to probably go back and fix a couple of things. I don't know. But it does look like a piece of furniture at this point, which is kind of nice. That's the idea, is we want it to look like it's a piece of the furniture when it gets into the home, right? One of the aesthetics of buying something is you want something that looks like it belongs in your home. And I think that belongs in a home. I don't know if I can get the best views on that, but let's see. Here's the outside of the bowl. And there's the inside. I think I need to work a little bit more on this ridge. Just here, I see a little slit in there. I need to take that out, but I'll work on that separate. I don't need to bore you guys with that part, but what do you think? Came out to be a pretty nice bowl. Pretty nice bowl. I'll entertain your questions now if you have any. How much does that sell for? Depending on the place you're selling it at. I'd be lucky to get $25 for it, to be honest with you, at most of the places. At other places, you know, if you were in the right place with a lot of different, you could get $40 or $50 for it, maybe, you know. But some of the places that I've been selling at lately, they don't want to part with their money very much, and I'd be lucky to get 25. So, yeah, it's just what it is, you know, just what it is. So, you know. So, guys, the other day you saw, most of you saw anyway, my video with the mallet challenge. And this was the mallet. This is a copy of the mallet that I made and sent to Mike. This was my copy. I made two at the same time. So this was mine. This is the one that Mike made me, which is, I just love it. Both of these have shot in them, so they also work as maracas, you know, if you're dancing. But they also gives it a little more impact when you're hitting. And you know, so since we both have put mallets out there of different designs, the challenge was how many of you guys are going to make a mallet of your own and share it with the rest of us. So, and I think I said on there that if you want to send me a picture and put it on my site, I'll make sure that I publish it out for everyone to see. If you don't want to put it on your own channel or whatever, but I'd really like to see how many of you can do that. And let's say by the end of the month of August. So since it's the last day of July, so we'll do this challenge for the month of August. And I'd like to see just how many of you guys can make a mallet. And it doesn't have any particular thing. The only thing that we're saying about a mallet is that it's made out of wood, okay, primarily, and that you can hit something with it. Okay, so it's got to be functional. Okay, that doesn't mean it has to work forever. Like this is too beautiful for me to hit things too much with it. I don't want to start damaging it. This I know I can make another one of because I have some more walnut. And maybe, in fact, I'll show you what that came from. That came from a piece just like this. And what I did is I put it on the bandsaw and I split it in half. And right down the middle. So I had two even pieces. and then I was able to put the design on here and so forth from there. And that way you had a matching set. This was gun stock walnut. I'm sorry, walnut. This is gun stock walnut, and these were the cut-off pieces after they make gun stocks. I was able to get a few of these a few years back from a company, and so I've been using them for different projects over the years. It's beautiful grain, because they really like grain, of course, and it has to be very solid and very good piece. No bugs, no wormholes, no nothing like that. So when you're getting it from them, you're getting it from people that have really put a lot of thought into the wood that they're purchasing. So just a hint for you there. If any of you live near a gunsmith or gun manufacturers, that might be something to look into. Okay, so here's the challenge. You got 1 month. I'd like to see what other people come up with. Okay, so going back to this pistachio for a minute. So if I was to mount on here and put a tenon on this side, it's going to be turning like this, and I'm going to be turning off a lot of the white and keeping some of this. But as you make the base, you're going to cut a lot of this color out. So you think of it this way: if this was the base and I cut it like so, it would be like this with a tenon, and like from this distance down here, this would be the tenon area. So I would only have this part of the bowl showing with the color. Okay? If I made this the tenon and had the bowl coming like this, okay, and the tenon's here, then I'm going to have more of the color of the wood coming up in the wood. So this is the way I probably would have to do this, is to make this outside white part the tenon part. Okay, so what do you guys think? That's my thinking on it. And tell me your thoughts. So it would be a bowl that bowl actually comes more like this. I mean, this is a very bad drawing, but the bowl would come like this, and this would be the round, and all this is going to get cut off basically in the process. Most of this is going to leave, so you're going to lose some of that, but not all of it. On both sides, but you're going to have most of the green and other green on the top. So do you like it this way? I mean, a third option, which I don't really like too much, a third option would be to put the tenon here and make it like this. The problem is you're going to have one half that has the grain and one half that doesn't have grain. So that's kind of a non-starter. I think what we're going to do is have a bowl. I think this is going to get cut out. This is going to be the tenon side, right here. Yeah, maximize the grain. So I think that's what you do. I think that's what we do, is this one right here. And it's good to look at your wood and kind of plan that out ahead of time so you don't get caught. So that means the face plate would go on here. I'd make the tenon, round this out, make the tenon, shape the bowl, turn it around, put the tenon in, and this is going to be my bowl. This area here is going to be my bowl. Okay? So a slightly closed rim. I could fold it under. I could fold it under a little bit. I could scoop up and fold out like this. Sort of like a flower opening up. So there's a lot of different ways I can do it, but this is the part that's going to get taken out. Is my basic idea of that. Okay? So we'll probably do this next week. I hope you guys will be around for that, because I have not turned pistachio before. I've seen it turned. I've seen, I had a lot of guys in our wood turning group talk about turning pistachio, but I personally have never turned pistachio, at least not knowingly. Maybe I turned it and didn't know it. You know, that's always a possibility. We do have a lot of found wood around here sometimes. Okay. So now we did the big, now we're going to go to the small. And I am going to have to go back to the big later on and clean things up on it, but I wanted to go to this one. Since we have a relatively small group of you guys here, I wanted to kind of cover some of the different things. You don't need to linger here for hours if there's not going to be many people here watching. We can let you guys get on with your day too. So, right. As you can see, there's a lot to take off there. And we will. We get a drink of water. Okay. And we'll get some more of this out of here. Really, when you look at this, it really looks like walnut, doesn't it? I mean, that really looks like walnut, not oak. But it was obviously an oak bowl. No two ways about it. Okay, let me get my helmet on. Okay. Yeah. Well, hey, Mike, I heard something today. This may be good for a couple of you guys. They were talking about a new thing for schools in case there's a lockdown situation with a like an armed person or something walking through the school, and they were talking about using a drone. It's a specially equipped drone that has like a tear gas or something to it that it can be deployed almost immediately. It can crash through windows, and it can spray tear gas within. They can say it can be deployed and on the site in 15 seconds because it's activated from either maybe the principal's office or the security officer's office or wherever. But what do you guys think? You think that's something that you'd want to have at your school for protecting kids? It does come with some ramifications if it's not applied properly, of course. But it's an interesting thought. Ooh. You see, I still approve that more than I do using a roughing gouge. A roughing gouge, it's going to come down and pound on it every time. This way, you're coming in at an angle. Woo, and you're letting it come. It's going to do the work for you. And I know some people are kind of squeamish about standing in front of the tool, but remember, you got a tool rest in front of you. If something comes to come off, the tool rest is also there to protect you. And as long as you're staying behind the tool, your hand is always behind the tool rest. Never let your finger get down here. You're pretty safe. I'm not 100% safe. I do just get hit by a piece of wood, but you are pretty safe. And now I'm going to go up in speed a little bit. Got this right here. So it looks like we're going to have to make this a little smaller. Okay, let's see what I have this big crack that runs right through here. Don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm just playing for fun here. Giving it a little bit of a design. Alright. Form this up just a little bit. See how that goes. And you got a little bit of a look to it now. A little something different. Okay. We'll bring this around to the back side here. Level that out. Okay, I think we can work with that. Let's see if I can make a tenon out of this. I don't know if I can or not. You know, I may not even try. I may just go back to what I used on the last one. I'm not making it, so I got these cracks running through here. Yeah. I think that might be the way we'll go. Let's see here. I know it's a little bit loud there, but I'm sorry about that. But a little bit more. Okay. I have to use this to fix that, I think. All right. might have to do a little bit more. We'll see. Kind of working out this tenon in real time. Does not look like it's just as fine. Okay, that looks better. Let's see how that fits on there. Yep, that'll fit just fine. Yeah, that looks a good tenon. I just need to shake that up or stand it up just a little bit and we'll be ready to go. This is designing as you go. On this one. Sharper. A little flip, it could be a little cooler. One more, because I think this needs it. Sorry for all that noise, guys, but that's just the sound of sanding. Which, you know, everybody just lines up for it. This time, just for the heck of it, I will use a little tung oil on this one. Just because I can. So we'll use a little tung oil on this one. Different brush, by the way. Just down into that gap in there. This does have some cracks or whatever defects in it, so I'm anticipating those will be on the inside just as well. And that could cause issues. Definitely could cause issues. So we'll put a little of this in there and see if that doesn't help a little. See, it has real nice color to it. Different than the other one, not that orangish kind of color that the other one had. This one has more of a traditional oak kind of look to it. Back on the side. Crack a little bit. I know that's going to come flying out the minute I hit the button and start spinning that. I want it to kind of soak down in there a little bit before I do. I'm not a complete idiot, just a partial idiot. So, no, we do what we can. Welcome to the new people that are in here. Please, if you can, hit that like button, and if you're not subscribed, please do so, because we're trying to get to 5,000 and we are only 65 people short of getting to 5,000 subscribers. We got over almost 5.2 million views, or 5.1, 5.2 million views, but only not less than 5,000 subscribers yet. So we still really need to get some more subscribers in there. Please do what you can. Okay? So, yeah, that's looking nice. I think when looking at this as glossy as it is right now, I think when I'm all finished, a gloss finish on this particular piece might be just the thing for it. It's too small to make a lid unless I make a lid out of some other kind of wood, and I may consider that after turning it, but we'll see where we go from here first. Okay, so I'm going to wipe that off just a little bit. Usually you let the tung oil sit for about 20 minutes, but for your edification, we're kind of doing it faster. Normally you would leave about 20 minutes in between coats, wipe off the excess, put another coat on. This is not going to suck a lot of it in, so I'm not too concerned, but that is a pretty piece of wood even now. And I think just to protect it a little bit more right now, I'm going to go ahead and put on a little bit of this Johnson's Paste Wax. Yeah, all over it, and just kind of let it buff out just a little bit. Simply because I think that's what this wood would really like. It's carnauba wax. Can't buy this anymore, unfortunately, but you can still find it around at yard sales and state sales. And I grab what I can when I see it. I got 2 or 3 cans of it now, which is more than a lifetime supply. It'll be my lifetime, and probably the next person that inherits it from me, their lifetime as well. Whoever's in line to get my stuff, I know Mike, you were one of them. Ryan's another one, so and probably Alex and a few other people, if they manage to outlive me. But I don't see some of our regulars in here like Eric Makes or Wilson or any of those people in here right now, but I thought I saw Patrick earlier. Me not. Was it better than oil? Well, that's it's kind of an interesting thing because oil is if you have a dry wood that's porous, you want something that's going to go in and build up the wood a little bit. So tung oil or something like that is really, really good. It's going to penetrate and strengthen the wood. If you have a really hard surfaced wood like the last one that I did, it doesn't need it because it's not really going to penetrate and go down in the wood. It's pretty hard as it is. Like, you wouldn't put oil on glass, for instance, because it's too hard. It's not going to absorb any of the oil. But you can put wax on glass to kind of give it a nice, clean finish on glass. And you do the same thing on something like this. So it really depends on the piece of wood you're turning as to what you want to put on it. Like I said before, I have a lot of different finishes. And the thing about tung oil is you can go and put another finish over it later. You can spray shellac over tung oil. So if you want to give, or lacquer, so if you want to do a high gloss finish later, after you've done tung oil, you just kind of maybe very, very light, like emery cloth, sand the surface a little bit, and then just use a spray or something like that to do the lacquer finish afterwards. So we're going to take this off. And see what we got. Okay. Use for another time. Put this on here. See what we can do. I just gotta put the tools out of the way. Everything goes back where it belongs, or you lose it, right? You forget where you put things. Especially as you get a little bit older. Trust me. So this is a very small turning compared to the last one, which is about 9 or 10 inches. This one's about 3.5 inches. Probably 3 inches. Here, let's see how that's turning. Looks pretty much right on. Okay. Pretty hard for it not to be, but that's that's still the thing. Okay, so now gotta think how I want to get in here and do this. But the only way to do it is to start turning and see what happens, right? Well, that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, wish me luck. And again, hit the like button, please. Ooh. I need to lower this just a little bit. Whoa, it's really fun there. I think I'm going to do is go to something I don't normally do, which is go to a smaller 3/8 inch See if I can use that. Boy, my dull. That is really dull. Give me just a second on that one, because that is a very dull. I apologize for that. I think I know why I haven't been using this in a while. Dull as can be. So we'll try and put a little bit of a. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. Let's see if this does any better. Okay. Amazing improvement, huh? Probably been 6 months or longer since the last time I used it. Like I said, I don't need to tell most of you, because I know most of you know this, but you know, as long as you keep your hand behind this tool rest and keep your tool out in front and never extend yourself more than about an inch, you're golden. You've got plenty of control back here. You're not going to get caught with anything in here. You don't have anything on your wrist. It's very easy to just control your turns and cuts. Now we are getting this crack. And as we can see, that crack on the outside goes here. It kind of manifests a different crack over on this side. So It doesn't look like it goes much further than that, but it could be swirling around. It could be a swirling crack because it is after all a burl. And in burls, the wood swirls around. It doesn't have one direction. And what I'm trying to do here is undercut a little bit. We're starting to get a little bit further than we have good control with this tool. So I'm going to have to try and get in there just a little bit without touching. And that's hard to do. I don't know if I can get in there without touching. When I lower this, the problem is if I lower that, I get close to touching down here. And it's kind of a conundrum there. Okay, and we're starting to get some of these cracks are starting to make other moves, so I think I'm going to have to go to the scraper, or the, I'm sorry, to the carbide, to just kind of get around that. See how we're doing here. We did get the undercut going, which is good. And I'm wondering if I can get in here with this other side. No, not really. Okay, well then, plan B, we go with the flat. See if we can get that in there. Okay, we'll use the flat rest. And raise that up a little bit. And since the flat rest is not, because the bowl is not very wide, I can use the flat rest all the way across here. If you have not gotten a flat rest yet, I could really recommend you consider looking into it. They're not very expensive. Not very expensive, and they really do help you get in situations like this. Okay, I'm going to move the camera so you can get a better view. I'm sorry, I'm really not paying attention to my camera angles today. Okay, like that. So you can get a better view. What deep am I here? And about here. So I can go down even more. This is probably not going to be much more than a 2-inch candle holder when it's done, but it'll still look nice. That's probably the way I'll sell it. I'll probably put like a battery operated candle and stick it in there and be able to sell this for, you know, maybe put a little holly on the outside, and at Christmas time I can sell this for like $15, $20. So you never know what you can sell or what you can make out of something. This is more an experiment. I don't think I can get in there with this. Yeah. That's just not gonna. That's just not gonna do it. Scraper. Scraper. Okay. Let's clean it out a little bit. Just a little bit off center there. I don't know. I think it's that crack that keeps grabbing it. Yeah, that's what's happening. Is I'm hitting a crack. When I get over here to the side, I'm hitting a crack a little bit, and I think that's what's grabbing the skew. Let's see if I can bring it a little bit more. Maybe a little bit this side. Nope. There we go. You've seen Mike using these, you see me using these, you see Ryan using these. I introduced these guys to this Benjamin's Best scrapers. You get a set of them for about $40 on Amazon, and they're really great to have. There's this smaller one, and then there's this slightly larger one. This one's pretty aggressive, so I gotta be really careful with it. See all of us using it. The reason you see all of us using it is because it is inexpensive, but it really works, and they are well built and will last for a long, long time. see where we're at here. We're down near the bottom, but I do need to scrape that out some and get that a little sharper. I don't know if I can do it with the negative rake. I'll try it, but I'm not sure this. Whoa. My fault entirely. My fault entirely. I drew that out of there too quick. My fault entirely. But no damage, I don't think. No damage. Yeah, that happens. Take your eye off of something for just a half a second, and that's what happens. So, no harm, no foul. We move on. See if I can get in there with this scraper. Alright, let me feel in there, see how it feels now. I'm getting a little bit better. Yep. A little bit better. Just a little bit more there. Negative rate scraper is kind of a bottom feeder. Okay. Now I should be able to go back in there with my scraper and clean that out. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I think I got that cleaned out. Alright. Still dealt with that crack in there. Still in there. But we'll deal with it as we go. Okay. So let's put the toys away. Okay. Thank you for all the people that are in here, and please Subscribe if you're not subscribed, or please like if you can. If you like what you're seeing. If you're being entertained, it costs you nothing to subscribe. It does let you know when we're going to be on. We do offer memberships, but I'm not pushing those or anything. If you want to be a member, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine also. Members get a few other perks and so forth. And one of the things we're doing is we're doing an exchange of stickers. So if you have a channel and you are a member of the channel here, I will send you a sticker, and you can send me one, and I will post it like I have for the Whacking Shack and for the 77 Rockets here. I've had theirs for a long, long time. And in fact, Mike, if you have a newer, better one that you'd rather I post it up here, let me know or send it to me, and I'll be happy to change it out. Battery died. Fortunately, we have a few more. I'm not going to overdevelop this because it is a small piece. It's not going to be bringing a ton of money or anything, but I always like to make sure I do my best job no matter what. So, then reverse. Really trying to round out that inside a little bit. I'm feeling much better. So the last one here. Okay. And then we got our second bowl we're finishing off here. I did tongue oil on the outside, so I'll do tongue oil on the inside. You know what? I think I'm going to take the vacuum to that just to pull out as much of that as I can. This is going to just suck this up, I think, because it's a lot drier. Well, it's drier and it's more porous than the other wooden ones. Different, like I said, a different oak, you get a different surface, you get a different color. Just because they're both oak doesn't mean that they're the same piece of wood. So, I'm going to drench this just a little bit. And I'm going to let that soak while we talk. And we'll see what that does as we come back here. Okay? So I'm going to get back in the picture here. Scare all of you to see me. So, as I said, it's about 100, 102 to 105 degrees, somewhere around that here today. Jeff was like, I got to get a piece of dog shit off of me. That's okay. You got one top. Hi Eric, it's good to see you in here. You got one top center, huh? Wow, I finished turning and then all of a sudden everybody comes in. It's like I've done 2 turnings and now I got 52 people in here. When I was turning, I only had like 15. That's kind of weird. But it's also kind of par for the course sometimes, isn't it? So you get a lot of people in when you're not expecting it, and then they don't show up the other times. But all the new people in here, please subscribe. Please hit the like button. I'd appreciate that a lot. Makes a big difference. Yeah, so it really does help. Yeah, please hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it too. You been there in the background, Eric? Is that what it is? You hiding out? Hey, Jim here is in here. Good. Good to see you, Jim. You're alive and you had 6? Yeah, that happens too. It's like, it's a really hit and miss kind of thing, you know? It's really pooled up in there. It's really pooled up. I gotta make sure I keep brushing it up. Yeah, I know you try and have a lot of people on, and sometimes when you're not trying at all, you get a lot of people. You know, it's like kind of crazy. But I figured Friday after, it's over in England, it's middle evening. It's like 9:30, 10 o'clock over there now. You know. If you haven't checked out Soldier Farms, please check him out. He's really trying hard to get his numbers up and deserves a look. I know he's been working on shelving and doing things, getting things in the shop all fixed up. Sometimes he has his assistant in there with him, helping him out. His assistant does all the reading, which is kind of handy because then you can pay attention to what you're doing. And the other person reads off all the comments to you. It makes it a little bit easier than when you're just doing it yourself, like I am today. Excellent. By the way, yeah, I know the messy hair. Yeah, okay. At least there's still some hair up there. When he had 1,000, yeah. Well, 1,000's a good start. I mean, first you want to hit 500 so you can kind of, take advantage of some of the things YouTube has. Then you want to get to 1,000. Then you want to get to 2,500, and then you finally get to 5. Mike at Whacking Shack just broke 7, by the way, guys. And Ryan at 77 Rockets is now over 80,000 subscribers. So he's really done a job to get that number up there. So. Yeah. Well, at least I know yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. Mike has really been killing it lately. Well, fortunately, Ryan also got it figured out a long time ago. We were late to the party. Okay, so Ryan was in there when YouTube was still being supportive of wood turners, which they're not as much anymore. In fact, I had my wife today. I said, open up YouTube, see if my videos are being pushed on you, and they weren't. My own wife wasn't getting my feeds. She had to go look for them. So that's kind of disappointing when your own wife doesn't even have your feeds on there. And she's subscribed, but it's not. So YouTube is really kind of screwing with you a little bit, just so you know. Everybody should have gotten the message. It's in here. Should have gotten the message that I was going live, because I put it out over 24 hours ago. So I hope you all got the notification. I also put it out on a separate video, separate chat thing that I was out there. So I mean, between the two, YouTube should have notified everybody. Yeah, nobody's getting notifications on anything. I know. It's crazy. I don't understand it. YouTube keeps saying, you need to promote your channel. And it's like, well, I would love to, but you could help a little bit, you know? Yeah, I got a little too much on here. So I'm going to have to take some of this off. I'm not going high speed right now, because otherwise I'd be drowning in tongue oil as it was spinning. Okay, we got that off of there. And this is an old shirt. I love this shirt too, darn it. I hate to see this one go, but it's now being used as rags. And it happens to the best shirts, right? Whoa! And now I'm getting a shower of tongue oil. And this is not a friction polish. Tongue oil is not a friction polish, so you don't need to keep it going. You just want to make sure that you get a good wipe on it. So there we go. Right now you're going to get sort of a semi-gloss kind of finish to it. And like I said, if you want to spray this, you can. Get this off of here. After I made that foolish move and knocked it off its tenon once, that was kind of stupid. And there we go. You can see that big crack in there. I'll bring this a little closer for you. You can see the big crack in there. And I can bring the light up. There we go. See that big crack I was dealing with. But it is pretty. It's a pretty piece of wood. I've got to do the bottom of it. And if I bring that up with the other piece we did earlier, you'll see there is a distinct difference in the woods. They both do have a somewhat similar color, but the waves in this one, of this type of bowl, and then this one being a burl, the pith was right here, and everything's coming out from there. It's kind of like a quarter cut piece. Now this will hold a candle right in here. It's nice. This will hold fruit or whatever. It's nice and thin. I didn't make it fat on the bottom. It's nice and thin on the bottom. It's nice. It's the same thickness here as it is down here on the bottom, which makes it for a much better bowl. There's a slight concave to the foot, but it's a very nice foot. It's nice and even. So this other than being finished, I'm doing a little more finishing here at the top edge. This is a finished bowl. And this is a finished candle holder for Christmas time. I'll have to sand the bottom off a little bit, put a little more finish on it, and that'll be good on that one. So, or there's your dip and your chips. If you want to look at it that way, you can always do the dips and the chips. So, whatever you guys think there. So, push this out there a little more. Okay, so what do you guys think? Pretty nice. a couple of bowls. We will be doing the pistachio next week. Yeah, I could have gone a little bit lower on this one, but I don't think I need to on this one. That crack was telling me that that's the time to stop. I'm right here. And if I could have gone down a little bit further, but I don't want to be teasing that crack. So that's why I stopped. Okay. Well, I'm going to be doing a chip and dip platter really soon here again. If you'd like to watch one of them, you can go back and look at my video, Dan, that I did on the Super Bowl Sunday. Look at the one I did on Super Bowl Sunday. I think you'd really enjoy that one if you haven't seen it before. It's a live. So go back and do the live for Super Bowl Sunday, which I think was February something, and take a look at that, and you'll see how I went about doing that chip and dip bowl. And I've done a lot of them in the past. I've got a lot of material here to do some more. I really need to get back into making some platters and stuff. Let's see. Right on, Jeff. He walked me through one when I first started turning. Yeah, that's true. I did. Yeah. Yeah, that video is it. And all that was is an old tabletop. Like I got one here. Hang on a second. It's a tabletop that you can get off of any piece of cheap furniture. Like this. Okay, if you notice, I've got circles here. Platter, 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 plate, 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 plate. I got like about 3 or 4 platters and about 4 plates. Or these get doubled up. In other words, you cut 2 of those out, you glue them together, and now you got a two double thickness, and then you turn that so it's thick enough to hold a bowl. It'd be roughly not quite as high as this, but pretty close to the same height as this one here. And then so you can actually curve it and put a bowl, and you can also put a turntable underneath it so that it spins around, a Lazy Susan turntable piece. So you have a Lazy Susan on it. You could also take a couple of these, put them in here, and use that as the dip holder if you didn't want to carve it out of this wood here as you're doing it. So there's a couple different ways of doing it, but this one piece here, which is just part of a tabletop, see there? It's just a tabletop. Probably acacia wood or something like that. And from that tabletop, I'm going to be able to get several plates and bowls. It was free. It was laying on the side of the road when they were doing trash pickup. And I grabbed it. And then somebody else gave me another one the other day. So now I got even more. If you saw my video last Sunday, I did a short video showing off some of the wood that I got at my wood turners meeting. And I got to tell you, when you go to a wood turners meeting, you get all sorts of wood, because almost every meeting somebody has passed away or somebody came across something really big. One of the things we got notified for was that there was a person who was pulling out their entire walnut orchard, and they wanted to know if any of us wanted to come over and take some of the wood out of the walnut orchard. And we said yes. It's about 2 hours away from here, but they said we could have anything we wanted out of there. So we may have a couple people that have portable mills, so we can mill the wood right there. That would be great. So if we could mill sheets, like 2-inch slabs or something like that of walnut, right there on site. Now, what I understand is a lot of it is not black walnut, which is the base that they then graft onto for making the walnut trees, because that is almost all gone. Almost all of the black walnut stock has been killed off due to diseases, and so the amount of black walnut available in the future is going to be very, very, very limited, very hard to come by. So just to let you all know. And that's coming from a bunch of guys that have walnut orchards in this area. You're mostly going to get what's kind of an English or American walnut, which is lighter colored, doesn't have as much figuring as the black walnut, and when they grafted on, the stock they grafted onto could be they could graft it onto a fruit wood of some sort. I mean, they could be grafted onto a lot of different things, so that's unfortunate. But the limbs will still have some good walnut in them too. Have I gotten any almond from it? I did get some. I did have some almond a while back. I've had some peach. Peach is very interesting wood. It's very pretty wood. Apple, because we grow all this stuff here. I mean, this valley is one of the most fruitful valleys in the entire world for agriculture. So I've even turned grapevine. If you get old stock grapevine, you can actually get pen blanks, things like that out of it. But although we're not blessed with a lot of hardwoods like you are back, say, in the Midwest and South and East, we do get a lot. We do have a lot of fruit wood. There's orange. There's a ton of orange wood. I mean, there are orange groves for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. A lot of the oranges that you get come from here. Almost all the raisins that you get for the world basically come from here. Fig used to be big here. Figs are not big anymore, but there's a lot of dead fig orchards around. We have walnut, almond, pistachio. Almond's good. The problem is almond is kind of plain. To be honest with you, it's like a plain wood. It doesn't have a lot of grain to it. It's kind of like maybe our version of maple because it's kind of hard and kind of plain, but it doesn't have any real grain to it. So that's kind of avocado. Yeah. I've not returned avocado, but I have some friends who have it, and I'm assuming you would have an avocado smell. Oh, olive. We do have olive. And olive, when you turn it, of course, is a wonderful wood. It's gorgeous. It has some beautiful veining in it, and it smells wonderful, and it turns like butter. It never gives you a hard time. I've never had trouble with an olive, and it's about really one of my favorite woods to turn of all the woods. So we may not have the kind of woods that you can make handles out for your tools, but we do have a lot of interesting woods that we can turn. Manzanita, very hard. You've seen me turn a couple pieces of manzanita here. Extremely hard wood. Makes a great mallet, because it ain't going to break, that's for sure. So what else we got here? Avocado, always wanted to turn. Yeah, well, I imagine it would smell pretty much like an avocado when you're turning. Excuse me here, and I'll get something. Yeah. This is a mallet I turned a few years ago for my wife. This is oak, and I did this back in '23, and this is a piece of oak also. It is so hard, it won't even dent. It won't even make a mark on this wood when I'm hitting it on this metal. It does not dent. I mean, that is a hard piece. So there's lots of different kinds of oak. This is a real straight oak. This is quarter cut piece. This is burl. We get a lot of different kinds of oak out here, and some of it can be really hard. This was, you can see what it was. It was a chunk that was all broken out, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I said, well, I'll turn what I can and mill out a hole and make it into a. And she uses it all the time. So that's another mallet to go with the other mallets, guys. Okay. Well, yeah, you guys get walnut and cherry, you know, and pretty things like that. The only walnut I get is when the walnut tree, like I said, goes down or something like that. Cherry's pretty hard to come by unless I cut down my own cherry tree here. I would imagine some of you guys have a lot of native woods to your area. Cypress. And you see me turn some cypress that was just gorgeous. really love to turn cypress. It came out such beautiful turning pieces, and you know, cypress is one of those woods that it has such deep red colors to it. Redwood, it's another one. In fact, I got a couple more pieces of really nice blocks of redwood. I'm going to be turning probably into a couple of candlesticks. There may be some spindle work coming up, which I haven't done in a while. This is that piece that I turned a couple weeks ago, and then last week I was showing how it had already warped. Well, since then it has stabilized some. I took out some of that warping that was in there. I redid the tenon a little bit, redid this because it had warped almost a ½ an inch in a week. Okay, so let's just take a quick measurement here. It is now 7 1/4 inches this way and 7 1/8 inches this way, so it's warped another 1/8 of an inch. That's all. So it is pretty close to stopping warping. It is drying out. Let's see what the content is. And I can't get a reading here. Come on. Give me a reading. Let's try the other side. Well, that's weird. I'm not getting a reading on this. It won't transmit a reading. Well, all I can say is I can feel it still has some moisture to it. Nope, I'm not getting a reading. Nope, I'll have to pass. But it's still got some moisture to it, so it's still going to be warping a little bit more. But I think in another week or two, I should be able to take it down to its final size, take out the warp, and we'll have a real pretty bowl. And I really like the colors of this wood. As you can see, I had to fix some of the cracking that was going on here, and it has not cracked too much further since then, which is good. Same here on this side. So the next step is to just continue to let it dry. Oh, well, you know, my microwave went out, and I had to get a new microwave. Then my dishwasher went out, and I had to get a new dishwasher. So as long as none of my other anything else doesn't fall apart, we should be in pretty good shape. So anyway, maple, yeah, maple's always good. Well, Big Dog, you get all the wood you need from the Amish next to you, don't you? What do they usually give you? At least that was your supplier. I'm assuming it still is. We chop around maple trees for syrup. Yeah. Wow. So you're getting your own syrup too. That's cool. And what do you guys do with the are you processing the syrup, or are you selling it off to somebody that cuts it out or that boils it down? Yes, yes. Oh, by the way, Big Dog, I didn't ask you. Did you get your truck situation fixed up? As I recall, you had a bad little accident going on there. So I hope you got everything taken care of with that. I hope that's all going well. It's been a while since I heard from you, so I'm really glad to have this time to catch up. You got to run, okay, Dan? Hey, I really appreciate you being in here, Dan, and please check out his channel as well. And guys, I think I'm going to call it a day too. But really appreciate you all being in here, and we'll talk to you later in the week or next week. Thanks. Yes, ma'am. What do you think?
Let me see. Is it open?
Yeah. No, it's not hooked in there. Two different things.
That would be.
That's for a candle or something. Yeah.
This is nice.
Mm-hmm. Just a little something. I got to do the bottom.
There's something.
What about the bowl, though? Lift the bowl up. That was that big, heavy piece of wood.
Yeah.
Look at it now. It's nice and light.
Yeah.
That was heavy. It filled up that entire trash can.
Damn.
Plus. But look at the